I guess it would be State of Tennessee because technically I got like second place, so I got like $200 for that.
Okay, sweet.
So I guess I shouldn't complain too much. I actually haven't had my first like where they commission me to write something, so I can tell you something's happening. But anyways, but it hasn't happened yet that way. But yeah, as a writer, I'm a little bit of an oddball on this. I mean, I will take an equal cut with everyone else, but I remember Seat Next to King. We did this just so well that it was so great to actually pay actors well for a show. Like sometimes, like, and Brandon knows this because I've given him so little money, but but it's so nice to actually pay actors really well when you get a show that does something like that. And Seat Next to King was one of those shows where I was able to do that. I always pay actors anyway, and they'll always ask me and go, "Did we make any money?" No. Yeah, you walk away. But Seat Next to King was so cool that even when it came to the second run, I said, I want like $500 just to replace the set piece. And I gave the rest of the money to the actors and the director and the stage manager at that point. I said, I don't need any more money from the production now. I'd rather the actors get the money for this at this point in time. I've kind of finished writing. So I finished my job. So yeah, so that was interesting. Yeah, definitely. So I've won like a few prizes for plays and stuff like that when that's where I get paid, but not like as a regular thing. I wish, but not there yet. Hopefully Sunday.
Yeah. So what's been the most interesting place that you've staged a performance? Now, this can be positive. This can be really weird. Like there could be poop in the stage or on the stage or something.
It's odd. I mean, I've been very fortunate to get theater spaces in my career. So I'll be very fortunate because I'm always very conscious of, where the actors have to play. And usually for a long time, I was always self-producing. So it was kind of like, you don't want to give your actors a dangerous space. So I will say it was an almost happened type of show. There was a show I had called Real Life Superhero, and I wanted to do it during the Toronto Fringe. But I wanted to do as a BYOV. Like that's what at one point with the Fringe, I couldn't get in to save my life, that bloody lottery. I went 16 years without getting picked either for a wait list or in. Seat Next to the King was the first time I ever got in per se on technically my own right, but yeah, that's why I love that contest so much. But I almost did a BYOV at one point. It was only the Toronto District School Board rules that wouldn't allow me to do it, and it was going to be at Central Tech, and it was going to be outside in the garbage dump area because we needed a garbage bin, and they were so like protective of that garbage bin. Like he was really like, you're going to hurt the garbage. I'm like, how am I going to hurt a big metal garbage? I'm like, I'm not running into it with a vehicle. I'm like, I'm lifting the lid and closing it. Like that's pretty much the essential part of that whole garbage bin. And
so you're assaulting the garbage bin.
I apparently was, and it was gonna be a fun story. We've done it. We did produce it. We created a garbage bin. We built one, but I really want to do it with an actual garbage bin, and I think I would look way better. It was about a guy who dresses up as a superhero at night, and after he's found murdered, they started to dig into why he decided to do all this, and it's told from like 5 different perspectives, including the person who murdered him.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was a fun script. We were gonna do it in Brandon, Manitoba at one point, but they were like, "Oh, well, there's not quite enough action in it." And I'm like going, like, okay, there's okay, yeah, sure. Brandon knows I'm very dialogue heavy. I don't write a lot of stage directions, and some people mistake that for there's no actions in the play. I'm like, well, no, you can create actions without me writing you. Brandon sits down on a chair. Brandon stands up from chair. Brandon sits down on couch now, like that sort of thing, right? And it's like I don't write that stuff. Why does it matter if I write? Like a director could change it anyway. If you read a script, those little like those director scripts, they're all stage directions that a stage manager wrote down, not what the writer wrote. So
yeah, and sometimes there's like how you say everything, like he said it this way, he said softly, he said loudly, or it's caps or it's exclamation points. And
yeah, I mean, I write those sometimes. I don't write a lot of dialect. I kind of hope we'll work and figure out together because I've got to figure out what the actor can do too, right? I mean, an actor who's a professional actor will get trained in dialects. If I get a community theater production, I can't expect that. I mean, they might get some of the dialect, figured out, but you know, we'll figure it out together. Like that's the other thing too. I really love that when directors and actors work on my script, that they work it out together. It's not just the thing, me, here's the script, now you guys work it out.
How did you first get started with Fringes? What was your first one, and how's, I mean, I think it's sort of a renowned like around the world. It's for a lot of actors and for a lot of playwrights, that's your first crack at getting your work up and seen by live audiences. But how did it start for you?
Yeah, Fringes are awesome, just because it's not about being evaluated. It's just about luck of the draw in a lot of ways, except for the new play contests. So I didn't get in, like, after I won for State of Tennessee, you don't get a production for second place, unfortunately. You only get for first. So again, I had to get waiting for that bloody lottery to happen, and never quite happened. And then my partner got picked in the lottery in 2010, and I did my first kind of show on a stage, which was called Brothers in Arms. It was a two-part story. One was in 1940s, one was in 1990s. It was about a comic book writer, a soldier who's his brother who's lost his arm, and a girl who gets caught between. And it was told in both perspectives, between World War II and the Iraq conflict. Because I love how comic books fall in that. So that was our first show we did, and I got the worst review I've ever got. I loved it. It was awesome. The day the review happened, my partner was at the Fringe office. He was working at the box office, and I caught him. I said, "Oh, did we get any reviews or anything?" And he was like, "No." I'm like, "You know, we got a review, don't you?" And he's like, "Yes." I said, "Well, just read it to me." He said, "Stephen, I don't want it." Like, "No, just read it to me." And he reads it. And it was a 1-star from iWeekly, and it said, "Stephen Jackson has had his theater cherry popped." That was the first line. And I was like, and I heard this, and I went silent on the phone, and then I just started laughing, just hilarious laughing. Because I'm like, I said, "Todd, you've got to understand, I've been waiting for that review all my life. Like, that's where do you go from there? Like, you can't go any worse." I mean, that's what's worse than a 1-star review. I guess a half a star. I guess I know. I don't know if iWeekly did half stars, but they always did at least one. I guess that was my worst review. But then we ended up getting like a 3-star from John Kaplan, who was awesome. And after that, yeah, you get used to it. So, but yeah, the Brothers in Arms was my first theater play, and then I ended up doing the next year. I ended up stage managing a show called The Last Rock and Roll Show, that was in the same venue as Kim's Convenience, at the Bathurst Street Theater, and that was an awing experience. Just the power of theater and what it can do was seeing that audience come in for that show, not our show. Our show was great, but seeing Kim's Convenience audience come in, and you just knew there was something very special.